So, Mike, what are some of the mistakes that people make in real estate on a consistent basis going into fall and winter?
Besides living in a place that has fall and winter?
Besides living in a place that has fall and winter.
You know, I think that the key thing to consider is what you want your fall and winter to look like and how important that time of the market is to set up the following year. And so I think that what a lot of agents do is they just follow the natural ebb and flow of the holiday season where they take their foot off the gas. I know that, you know, especially in a resort market or a secondary home market, that's always the case. So I think putting yourself into a position to not take your foot off the gas, to make sure that you're continuing to push forward, and you have the things in place and structured right, like your lead gen, your follow-up plans, so that you can continue that momentum, is really the thing to avoid that mistake.
Yeah. And I feel like I didn't really understand this until I looked at data for Dallas that was the seasonality curves.
Yeah.
So I think in people's head, it's a lot bigger than what it actually is in their markets.
Right.
And it's like, everybody's not going to move and the holidays are coming and no one's going to want to move. Well, people sometimes don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So I think the highest up was like 22% of the average, but the highest low was like 14 or 15% less than the average.
Okay. 14 to 15% less.
Yeah. So if
transactions happening during the holiday season and fall and winter.
Correct. So if there's 10,000 transactions in an area in a year, then on average it's 10,000 divided by 12. Yeah. And then where is it from that average month to month? Yes. And it just blew my mind that it really never fell off to be like half of what the average is and then double in the summer. Yeah. It was just, 20%, 23%, I think was the highest it got during like June, July. August, and then the winter months were just like 14, 13, 12 difference. And that kind of gave me perspective as the lead gen's happening too, because everybody else, and this is something else I learned from a lot of the top agents like yourself, that were just doubling down and like never pulled off the gas. So when other people were like, well, it gets slow, so I'm going to stop spending as much money because I don't really know what's going to be coming in, that just means advertising becomes cheaper. So cost per leads go down and you can actually double down and get more leads for the same amount of money, and just launch into the next year.
Well, and we were talking yesterday we were joking around about COVID and how like during COVID, when they said don't wear masks, I wore a mask, right? I wore gloves too, right? Like literally people looked at me like I was crazy. I had a little daughter and she was just, not too far out of NICU, right? And so then when everybody said wear masks, then I stopped. And so I think that, I joked, I was like, I tend to do the opposite of what everybody else does. And what most people do during that time is they shrink back, they pull back. They make these assumptions without looking at the math. And if you take the time to look at the math, or if you just set your intention on what you want to do during that time, right, you're going to get farther faster. And so same with recessions. With recessions, the best advice that I ever got was your money is going to go so much farther because there's less noise in the market. So continue the activity, continue to do the ad spend, continue to do the lead gen, continue to do the prospecting, and you're going to not only have a great Christmas season, but also you're going to set up your year, the following year, to have so much momentum that when you start, that's how you become number one and stay number one. You have so much momentum at the beginning of the year, they just can't catch up. They just get discouraged, And we joke about momentum all the time, like pushing a snowball down the hill. It gets easier as it gets bigger because you got that momentum. It's the same thing with the fall and the winter.
Yeah. And speaking of COVID, something that we on a podcast were like talking and we were like, the winter's coming, it's going to be a disaster. But we still had a lot of clients that were advertising all over the place. So we did not stop. Right. And we started seeing, like, I vividly remember everybody pulling back so hard across the board that on Facebook, I think it was Miami, the cost per lead got down to like under 40 cents per lead.
Yeah.
And we were like, what is going on?
Crazy.
And then it had that little bit of right after shutdowns were happening, but then it launched the next 2 years of the hottest real estate market ever to exist. Yeah. And I guarantee you those people that kept going through that just absolutely catapulted forward because they were getting stupid sums of leads because people were still clicking.
100%. Yeah. They're sitting at home bored for sure. Yeah. So that's the thing. Have a plan, work the plan the work, right?
Don't pull back.
Yes.
Go forward.
100%.
Hard.